Have you ever wondered why there are some people that, despite being very intelligent, never get to make a lot of money? And some others, maybe less intelligent, get to make a lot of money in their lives? Time is money. Have you ever heard that saying? And have you really put it into practice in your daily life? Once I heard an example that made me realize the true value of my time. You have probably heard it before, but I still want to share it with you so you can realize the value of your time too. So imagine every day you wake up with 86,400 brand new dollars to spend any way you choose to. If you don't use them that day, they'll be gone the next day. What should you choose to do every day with your money? Of course, every one of you would agree with me that you should spend it all every day, using it the best way possible and not losing any cent. What if I told you this same situation applies with time? Every day you wake up with 86,400 brand new seconds to spend any way you choose to. You can use this time efficiently or inefficiently. You can use this time on things that will benefit you, your mind, your health, your grade, and your future. Or you can also use it on things that will not benefit you at all and could even harm you. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't relax. In fact, you actually need it for your mental sanity. What I'm saying is that people have large amounts of time and they don't really use it wisely. In fact, in an survey passed to middle schoolers and high schoolers, more than half the responders use their time on TV, Netflix, and YouTube. The problem here, as I just mentioned, is they have large amounts of time and they use it all in these activities that don't help them and could even harm them. I will mention something that has probably happened to you because it has happened to me. So you come home and you only have one homework. It is short. It is easy. You can do it later. But as you start to do it, you realize it is not as easy and you need help. So you ask the person you know that can help you, but they don't respond. Maybe they're asleep. Now it will take you longer to understand it by yourself, and when you finally finish, you remember you had another homework pending. All this loss of time could have been avoided by doing homework earlier. And sometimes saying later is saying never. You say later and later and later until there comes a point where it becomes a never. This is the same as if you had a book in your hands in which you could only turn pages forward but never backward. And maybe you turn 5 or 10 pages at a time, but without reading any word. And suddenly, you get to the end. You have just wasted that book. You had it in your hands. It was up to you how you used it, but you didn't use it wisely. This is the same with your time. It's up to you how you use it. One example of this is when you have an exam. You had a meeting, you even have a flight. So you put an alarm to wake up at that time you need. But when it sounds, you don't want to wake up. So you decide to snooze it for only 5 minutes. It won't affect, right? But this happens over and over until your mind just decides not to listen and just keeps sleeping. But when you finally wake up, you realize you lost your exam, you lost your meeting, you lost your flight. You lose money by buying a new flight or by not getting the job. So it is clear to see that losing time is losing money and saying later is saying never. And you need to combat it to avoid it becoming a habit. Even the most insignificant moments like snoozing your alarm clock. But why? Because you never know when a situation will turn out to be a never. You may also have great potential in a sport or activity, but are too lazy to practice, and you decide to quit. You lose something you are good at, something you may have done for the rest of your life, and years later you realize it was a mistake. You should have never quit. Why do we see people wanting to turn back time and undo their actions, but we don't do anything to avoid that ourselves? We decide our actions, the ones determining our future. And you can change because this is not a mental issue. According to psychologists, it's just a habit. Some of the reasons why people are lazy is that they lack on self esteem, stress, depression, fear, and hopelessness. Another reason is that they may have a lack of motivation, because motivation helps us to be determined on our final goal, what we want to accomplish. And to accomplish something, we need a goal. And to achieve a goal, we need time. So why can't we imagine that our days have actually 25 hours instead of 24? With the only condition that that extra hour is exclusively for that goal you have. Are you willing to accept it? But we know that extending the day to 25 hours is scientifically impossible. So why don't we imagine that our days have actually 23 hours instead of 24? And we get an extra hour to achieve the total of 24, and that extra hour is for your goal. And if you say you don't have that much time, I will share something with you. Among the survey I mentioned before, 35% of the responders have 0 to an hour of free time. So maybe they could use half an hour for that goal. 33% of the responders have 1 to 2 hours. 23% have 2 to 4 hours. And 10% have even more than 4 hours. But yet, almost 9 out of 10 of them have dreams and they feel they can't achieve it due to lack of time. So find your extra hour and dedicate it toward your goal. Now imagine how your life will be after working 5 days a week, 1 hour each day on your goal. Imagine how your life will be after working for 260 hours on that goal. Imagine how your life will be after working for more than a month, 8 hours a day. But if you think a year is too long, just set your mind to do it for a month. That's all it takes to create a habit. I want to use my time wisely just as I would use my money wisely. Because if I waste my time, I'm wasting a lot of things that I could get from it. And that time I will never get back. Time is priceless. So what actually is the price of laziness? Sometimes it's money, but in many cases, it's your dreams vanishing away. Thank you.